Batman the Brave and the Bold is criminally underrated. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, then you know how big of a Batman fan I truly am. So when I say Batman the Brave and the Bold is criminally underrated, I mean it. This show popped up on Cartoon Network back in 2008, and it had my 6-year-old mind hooked. Like, I remember when this show came out with some McDonald's toys and they had the little commercials playing on Cartoon Network. I just had to collect them all like they were Pokemon. But I digress. If you've never watched this show, I highly recommend you do. Batman the Brave and the Bold does this really tricky thing where it balances the line between campy and cool. Like, 1 minute Batman is singing to save the day.
Why have you stopped playing that wonderful music?
And then the next bro is dealing with the grief of a dead friend. And I will always give Kevin Conroy his well-deserved credit as the definitive voice of Batman. Like, legit, the Arkham games is Batman core. But Dietrich Bader, I gotta say, his voice fits for this world's themes and this Batman. I think if I had to rank the top 3 voice actors for Batman, it would have to be Roger Craig Smith at 3rd, Dietrich in 2nd, and obviously King Kevin himself at number 1. Back to the Brave and the Bold, this take on Batman is very different than what people are used to, in a good way of course. For instance, bro is teched out of his mind. Like, I know Batman usually uses gadgets, but like, you know that prep time meme people like to use with Batman? Well, that's literally him. I mean, man's got a cape that can transform into a goddamn jetpack, and a belt that's concealing a freaking sword, bro. In his car, yeah, that can transform into an Autobot, and that's just to name a few. Like, that's not scraping the surface of the gadgets bro be pulling out of that utility belt. And honestly, I kind of hope that James Gunn's Batman moves like how this Batman does. They both got the same title, so there's hope, and it could add a good contrast from Robert Pattinson's Batman. You wouldn't even have to change the suit up too much, like leave it blue and gray, maybe not the underwear, maybe yes, who knows, depending on what he comes up with. But going back to the whole tone of this show, it really is jarring in a good way, if that makes sense. Like, I'm talking from wacky to serious. In fact, the episode at 5th place for me, Invasion of the Secret Santas, is a good example of what I'm talking about. So in this episode, Batman's teamed up with Red Tornado, and that is a very common theme. Each episode, he's usually teamed up with a different character, like Plastic Man, Blue Beetle, etc, etc. And throughout the episode, we see that Red Tornado is trying to understand the true meaning of Christmas, which leads to some very funny moments.
I am lacking Christmas spirit. It is something I wish to experience. It's overrated.
But on Red Tornado's journey to find the true meaning of Christmas, we get flashbacks of Batman with his parents, and there's some of the most heartfelt moments that can come from a cartoon show. Fun fact, by the way, the villain in this episode, Funhouse, is holding a classic Batman villain. I think her name is like Baby Doll. It's just a fun little Easter egg. They have a multitude of Easter eggs in this show from other Batmans. Like, fun fact, in later episodes, they actually get Adam West to play Thomas Wayne, and he does a hell of a job of doing it too. Going back to the episode, the reason why this is on my top 5 favorite episodes is how differently they play Batman's origin. Like, it's not super different, but the way we get flashbacks to what happened contrasting throughout the episode is really well done. And then the one-liner that Batman lays on Red Tornado,
sometimes what you wish for most is the one thing you can never have,
just hits right in the heartstrings too. Like, damn, bro, this Batman's a philosopher for real. So towards the end of the episode, Red Tornado finally gets his Christmas wish of feeling the Christmas spirit. Too bad it literally ends with him getting exploded, but don't worry, he's a robot, so he'll be rebuilt. But this episode is just a prime reason why I love this show so much, and why I think it's so heavily underrated. We rarely get shows like this, man. Now, the episode that's ranking at number 4, we got Fall of the Blue Beetle. And for the most part, it's a classic Batman episode. He gets teamed up with Blue Beetle, and we learn out that Batman and Blue Beetle are friends, something that Batman usually doesn't have a lot of. And throughout the episode, Blue Beetle number 3 is kind of having a little identity crisis, trying to live up to being a true hero.
No way, Paco. You know something? You're so wrong. People aren't just handed out powers randomly. There's always a reason. Heroes are chosen because they're worthy to be heroes.
Oh, nigga, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, nigga.
Which is a good story to tell. And in the episode, we get a line from Batman saying that he will never be like the original Blue Beetle. And it's a good piece of dialogue because it kind of has dual meaning to it. Because later on, we find out that it's a good thing that our Blue Beetle isn't like OG Blue Beetle. But the reason I rate this episode better than the last one is because this show is not afraid to kill off characters, man. Like Blue Beetle number 2 straight up sacrifices his life to save humanity. And I was shocked rewatching this show and realizing, oh crap, they actually killed off the second Blue Beetle in season 1 too. And that's something that doesn't change. Like he stays dead. Going on to the third best episode in the series, I have to give it to the Super Batman of Planet X. Not only does this episode have a cameo with Kevin Conroy in it half the time,
it's you who must pay the price for your life of crime.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
but it is a very interesting and fun concept. So basically, Batman gets transported into another world where he has superpowers in it. But you see, the Batman of that world doesn't have any powers. And so that Batman city starts to praise superpowered Batman more. And it's all fun and games, you know, superpowered Batman is clapping enemies left and right. But then you start to notice that the superpowered Batman is relying too much on his superpowers. And that makes him reckless. And ends up putting him in a very vulnerable position, to which where the OG Batman of this world with no superpowers has to swoop in and save bro. And it's just a good example of why Batman doesn't need superpowers to be Batman. Like, I would have been so disappointed if they ended the episode with superpowered Batman being like super god tier and can't be stopped and is OP and like Batman needs powers. No, this episode proves that the Batman, the brave and the bold Batman doesn't need superpowers to be super. And it also helps that Kevin Conroy's in here, so yes, it's at number 3. Second place has to go to the episode Requiem of a Scarlet Speedster, the introduction of the Flash. And in his first introduction into this show, he's dead. He got into a fight with the Reverse Flash and boom, they both disappeared, gone. And I'm very proud of this show for dealing with themes of survivor's guilt, because in the episode we learn how it happened. Flash, Kid Flash, and Old Man Flash, Jay Garrick, were chasing after Reverse Flash. Take a shot every time I say Flash, right? So then they straight up run into the Speed Force, going crazy fast until a portal opens up and everybody assumes it's some sort of death circle or something. So then the Flash, being the selfless hero that he is, pushes Wally and Jay Garrick out of the Speed Force and gets sucked into that portal with Reverse Flash and himself. And they let time pass. Like, it's been quite a long time since the OG Flash was gone. I'm glad it wasn't just, oh, he disappeared and then one day he was back. No. The way that Kid Flash is grieving is so spectacular to watch, man. Like, his character feels human. He lashes out at Jay Garrick saying that he should be the one to have died in there instead of Barry.
Wally's been running ragged trying to fill Barry's shoes. Blames me for his death.
Fuck Nelly, fuck 50. I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
And Batman has to reassure Jay Garrick that he's in a hurt position. He needs to heal, which is very mature of Batman to even entertain the idea of saying stuff like that. Because this Batman doesn't just play the brooding role. He's nurturing. He's strong as hell. He's funny at times. A lot of times he's funny.
I'm Batman. Nah, dudes. I'm Batman.
But the main thing about this Batman is that he always fights for the unjust and makes it just. But luckily for us, they find out that Flash didn't die. He got pushed into the future where Reverse Flash is king and has been getting his power siphoned off Reverse Flash for like who knows how long. So then Batman and the two Flashes travel all the way to this time to go spin back for Flash. And I mean, Reverse Flash is OP, man. If Superman's kryptonite is kryptonite, Batman's kryptonite is Reverse Flash. I mean, comics he gets done dirty by Reverse Flash. In this show, he was getting pieced up by Reverse Flash. I mean, damn, it was like one-sided, low-key.
Oh no, this can't be.
but they managed to catch the dub, with OG Flash landing the final blow. And that's when he returns to his original timeline, and boom, Barry Allen Flash is back. So sometimes they do like to fake out death, but most times, no. They just straight up die. Like, I remember there's an episode with Buwana Beast in it, and he's dating Vixen. And like, he's fighting this one dude, I forgot the name of the villain, but Buwana Beast straight up dies in that fight. He never comes back. He might be in like a flashback episode, but he's permadead, which I like. I like when the stakes are high in a show. Those deaths made it feel like no character was really safe. Another example of a good character death, the Doom Patrol. Not one dies, they all die. Every single member of the Doom Patrol, except Batman. That boy lucky. But yeah, that episode, Batman basically reunites the team for one last final W before they all die. I was surprised too. I didn't even know they got killed. Before I reveal my favorite episode of all time throughout this entire series, I just gotta mention a couple things. One, GI robots in this show. Yeah, I wonder if James Gunn is a fan of this Batman. They also have a Creature Commandos cameo. And something else that this show does really differently than the other Batman shows out there is Batman's friendly rivalry with Green Arrow. Like, every episode that they share together, they're always trying to one-up each other.
Again.
As in, always?
As in your dreams.
Whether it's fighting crime, racing cars, you name it, one of them's gonna want to be the best. Although I do think Batman wins most of the times, especially when you factor in that Green Arrow's own homegirl wanted Batman in this show before him. That's crazy work. And it doesn't just stop at Black Canary. Half the damn cast want Batman in this show. Bro has huzz for real, for real. Speaking on that reminds me of this episode where Batman loses his memory and becomes Matches Malone. And throughout the whole episode, bro's becoming a prolific criminal and pissing off Two-Face.
Two-Face. Figures. Truth is, Matches, you did me a favor.
But the reason why I brought this up was because all three of these women in this episode wanted Batman. Jeez Louise. Bruce gotta tell me how he do it. And I mean, talk about the villains in this show. They span from really obscure villains like Dr. Polaris to extreme threat level villains like Equinox. And I always found it funny how Gorilla Grodd was really beefing with Batman in this show. Like, bro, aren't you a Flash villain? What are you doing here? While the heroes do have the mass majority of screen time, there are a couple villains that really steal the show. Like, as I mentioned before, Equinox. I did not know who that was prior to this show, but his whole thing of balancing chaos and order is really fun to watch play out. And then you have freaking Music Meister with his ability to force everybody to sing. And I remember a couple of these villains showing up in this really old, obscure Batman the Brave and the Bold game that I played on my Nintendo. No, not Nintendo Switch. It was on the DS. You could like swap from Batman to Plastic Man and all that good stuff and go from level to level. It truly was a solid DS game. Not trying to sound like a sponsor or anything, but if you have a DS, I highly recommend you play it. You'll be surprised with the amount of fun you have. And on the villain side of things, bro, the Joker looks like a combination of creepy and campy. Like that big jarring smile permanently on his face and like the subtle movements of his cheekbones. I don't know. He just looks creepy and he can throw hands. This Joker ain't no joke. He can actually throw hands.
No man sets foot on Paradise Island.
I am what I am. The winch.
We.
Knockout!
And his voice actor, I forgot to look him up, but he does a good job. He went on to do voices in regular show, I know, but his voice, it fits. Although I wish the Joker from that one Batman animated show I'm showing right now did the voice instead. That just would have been perfect, man. More standout characters I need to shine some light on are definitely Plastic Man and Wildcat. Plastic Man, his whole villain turned hero conundrum is so funny to watch. You can tell that he's mostly good now, but he still wants to steal stuff. Like, there's this one episode where Batman's in trouble and Plastic Man has the prime opportunity to save bro, but instead he starts stealing. I swear it had me dying. Y'all need to go watch this show, man.
Couldn't be there in just 1 second, okay?
Is this nigga serious?
And then Wildcat plays the role of being Batman's mentor / grandfather, fatherish role, somewhere in between that. Like, you can tell Batman really cares about the characters around him, and it really shows with Wildcat because he's an older superhero, so his heart can't take all that crazy world-saving nonsense that Batman deals with. This show also loves pairing Aquaman with the Atom for a classic strong but dumb and small but smart trope. But they also do that in a clever way, because while they could have just made the entire episode between them about how stupid Aquaman is, Aquaman's actually right most of the time. It takes Adam having to think outside of the box for Aquaman and Adam to prevail.
What about the plan?
Blah, blah, blah. Let's punch him!
And then we have the banger music, bro. Like, every single track in here is fire. I'm not only talking about the background tracks, I'm also talking about the songs that they have from episode to episode. They have a few songs in here that I have to add to my playlist. Check out Gray and Blue. That song is a banger. And when I say this show loves its previous Batman, I am not lying. Adam West is in this show, Kevin Conroy's in this show. Strong amounts of comic book Batman is drawn in there. It loves the Silver Age of Batman. There's just so many Easter eggs to older Batman. I do wish that they showed a little more light on John Stewart Green Lantern, but I guess he did have his time to shine in that Justice League show, because this show, their Green Lantern is Guy Gardner. Bowl cut and all, bro has a super short temper in this show, which leads to some hilarious moments.
You so much as sneeze without my permission, you're going to regret it.
That I'd like to see.
But it only helps to round out the cast of characters. And just another fun little fact that I enjoy is that Finn and Jake are both in this show. Aquaman is voiced by the same dude who voices Jake, and Kid Robin is voiced by Finn. Speaking about this version of Robin, he's not partnered up with Batman too much in this show, but it's still a good amount. And every episode helps to grow out their relationship. Because when we first see the dynamic duo, Batman kind of doesn't trust Robin to do things on his own until the second time they meet, in which bro has a little more respect for Robin and he grows up a little bit. And at the end of the episode, he turns into Nightwing, wearing the classic Nightwing suit and all.
Call my own shots, and my new name is
Nightwing.
Hey. Actually, that's not bad.
Going back on Batman, I swear bro in this show is damn near invincible. He's taken punches from literally Darkseid and got back up. If I were to put all the animated Batmans against each other in a fight, I'm pretty sure bro's gonna come out victorious. Not only does his punches hurt like hell, but bro almost has metahuman durability. Top that with his infinite gadgets, and let's not forget he's still a good detective. Just ask Detective Chimp. Yes, that's an actual character, by the way. I'd say maybe Arkham Knight Batman might stand a chance against bro, but besides that, the rest of them are kind of cooked. Another standout episode I'd like to talk about before I get to my #1 episode out of this entire show, Triumphant of Terror. This episode starts off with a weird like baseball intro. I know that most of the episodes in Batman the Brave and the Bold start off with like this little mini episode that I really enjoy. Sometimes it connects to the overall theme of the episode, sometimes it's random. In this case, it's really downright random. Like, it's basically all the villains versus all the heroes playing baseball. It had me intrigued though. Anyways, in this episode we finally get the main trio of DC, and it's just so fun to see them interact outside of fighting crime. You know, just chopping it up at a restaurant. You don't get a lot of superhero media that shows this side of the job.
Double bacon cheeseburger with fries. Make it 2.
I'll have the tuna club on whole wheat and a salad.
Make it 3. And shakes all around. You'll work it off, princess.
I won't go super in depth in the episode in case you want to watch it, but they do some interesting things in it, and I love their designs. I love pretty much every design in here. It's like a mix of classic and modern, leaning more to the classic side, but that just helps it stand out amongst other DC shows. And now while Superman comes out in season 2, it's really just a small cameo. Bro doesn't really get introduced until season 3, and in that season we get basically a better version of Batman versus Superman, because while they do fight in this episode, it's for a way better reason than what we got in the Snyderverse. So in this episode, Lex Luthor gets his hands on some kryptonite that makes Superman tweak out. I mean, bro was being a super jerk, going on a career-ending tour, messing with people, and taking over Metropolis.
No autographs.
So Batman, rightfully so, armors up with Crypto, by the way. Yeah, they run in duos on his owner, and they fight Superman. And they really go back and forth with trading blows, but eventually Superman gets the upper hand and almost slimes out Batman, crushing his skull too. I mean, it was cutting it real close, but the thing is that the kryptonite wears off after 24 hours. So right at the last moment, Superman comes to his senses and they trade costumes to trick Lex Luthor. Now this episode almost made it to the top 5, like it got really close, but I don't know, I switched back and forth between the two episodes. Speaking about top 5, let's get to that number 1 episode called Chill of Night. Now if you're a Brave and the Bold fan, you know why this is number 1. This is probably the undisputed champion of episodes in this show. The concept of the Spectre and the Phantom Stranger talking back and forth about Batman's fate is just so captivating, bro. While one side wants Batman to be a symbol of revenge and vengeance and fear and all that, the other side wants Batman to be a symbol of justice and hope and fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. And throughout the episode, each side tries to persuade Batman to theirs. But you see, the reason why this episode should be studied in film classes everywhere is that Batman doesn't just easily pick the side of justice and what's right. He leans towards the side of vengeance and revenge.
One of you knows something, and I've got all night to find out who.
And you can tell that he wants to do it so bad, especially with the introduction of Joe Chill, the man who took his parents away from him. In this episode, we see Batman face to face with his murderer, and bro doesn't just fight Joe Chill, man straight reveals his identity, lets him know who he is, and then proceeds to put absolute hands on boy.
Yes, my lifetime. You took them without mercy or regret and in cold blood, Jill. How do you know this? How could you possibly? I know because I watched it happen. I know because I am the son of the man you murdered. I am Bruce Wayne.
It was really a one-sided brawl. Had that man begging for his life. And I have to admit, Dydridge, bro was acting his heart out in this episode. The monologue he gives Joe Chill was giving me chills. But that's when a moment that makes this my favorite episode ever happens, and this Batman shows restraint.
Batman may die, but Bruce Wayne.
Even though he wants to be vengeance and revenge and slime out Joe Chill right here and right now, he doesn't. Because his hammers of justice are just, and they're not the jury or executioner. With that being said, Joe Chill runs up out of there before Batman changes his mind and ends up meeting bro's rogues gallery. And after telling them he's the reason why Batman is Batman, they decide to jump bro, which no joke had me laughing for at least 7 minutes.
It's your fault Batman's always on our backs.
No, guys. Wait.
Then the building collapses on them all and ends up crushing Joe Chill, killing him almost instantly. At first, this kind of upset me as an ending because it felt underwhelming to see Joe Chill go out in such a way right after Batman decided not to kill him. It's kind of like Batman got his wish. Then we get the Spectre in this sly comment right here.
Funny how Chill just happened to be under that crumbling ceiling when it came down. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Are you sure?
That just made it all worth it. Brought it back for me completely. Solidified that #1 spot. And hearing Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy in this episode helped as well with its rating. I could really yap about this show for hours, but I'm pretty sure if you're still watching to this point, I've convinced you to watch it. Batman the Brave and the Bold will always hold a bat-shaped place in my heart. It wasn't the best Batman show ever, but it sure ain't the worst. If anything, I felt like this show did what it needed to do before Batmite got it canceled. Batmite, a villain slash anti-hero throughout this show, got it canceled. For a pretty stupid reason too. He decided he wanted a new, darker, grittier Batman show, and in order for that to happen, he had to get this one canceled.
I want a new, more dramatic Batman show! Of course, that's not going to happen until this one's canceled.
And while Ambush Bug, an obscure Batman villain from a comic I haven't read, tried to stop bro from sliming out his own show, it did not work. Batmite got exactly what he wanted, that they actually did make a new TV show version of Batman, and it was darker. Pretty ironic.
And here comes Batman!
And this time, he's a girl.
Batgirl?
Hey, yeah. Cut this shit off, bro. I gotta cut the shit the fuck off.
But at least Batman left us with this last final message before going off the air.
At least you can say you had a good run.
A great run. And until we meet again, boys and girls, know that wherever evil lurks, in all its myriad forms, I'll be there with the hammers of justice to fight for decency and defend the innocent. Good night.
And that's pretty much it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and all that good junk before you go. I hope you liked this video, but hey, if you didn't like it, maybe you'll enjoy this one. But I'm out of here. Peace.